introduction, myself, the team, and an overview of Silverleaf Solutions. Next, Shiva Shankar Medipalli, our senior licensing consultant, will take about 30 minutes to share expert insights on optimizing enterprise licensing costs. He'll cover how to right-size expenses, ensure you pay only for what you need, and plan for future scalability. We will then have around 10 minutes for Q&A. Feel free to drop your questions in the chat at any time during the session, and we'll address them at the end. And then we wrap up the session. So starting with the round of introductions, my name is Prerna, and I've been with Silverleaf Solutions for over 9.5 years now. In my role, I focus on driving growth, building strategic partnerships, and helping businesses unlock new opportunities. I'm joined by my colleagues Akshay and Vanshika, who are equally passionate about helping businesses navigate the complexities of IT investments. We are also honored to have Mr. Mayank Srivastav, founder and CEO at Silverleaf Solutions, and Mr. Sushrut Pati, Vice President, Business Development and Strategy. Both bring nearly 2 decades of experiences across top OEMs. A quick snapshot of who we are. Silverleaf Solutions was founded in 2015 and is headquartered in Gurgaon. We are a global, independent, and research based organization specializing in software licensing advisory, cost optimization services, software asset management, and cybersecurity solutions. Our expertise lies in optimizing multi year software licensing contracts from Tier 1 and Tier 2 publishers, delivering guaranteed annual savings of 12 to 15%. Our cybersecurity capabilities span endpoint and application security, data protection, identity management, threat intelligence, and zero trust access, secure access. With our presence across India, the US, Singapore, and the UAE, we have proudly spent a decade helping businesses make informed and cost effective IT decisions. Let's take a quick look at what's happening in the market today. Across the IT landscape, vendors are making changes that directly impact budgets. Microsoft has recently announced that starting November 2025, they will be dropping enterprise agreement volume discounts. This means organizations that have once relied on volume-based cost benefits will now face higher licensing expenses. Salesforce has already hiked prices by around 6% starting this August. And Oracle continues to push its aggressive Java licensing model based on headcount, leading to unexpected cost hikes. So, what this means is simple: IT budgets are becoming harder than ever to predict. Now, the question is where does the budget actually go? Frequent price shift means enterprises faced unanticipated cost increase, more complexity in forecasting spend, and growing risk of compliance penalties. And instead of optimizing, many teams are stuck in reactive firefighting mode. This unpredictability is exactly why organizations need a smarter approach to managing their licensing investments. So this is where Silverleaf comes in. We help you to take back control with an optimized licensing strategy that ensures you pay only what you are truly using. Cost optimization, shifting you from costly models to the most efficient ones. Constant monitoring of vendor policy changes so you always have timely insights. Risk mitigation, supporting you through compliance reviews and audits, and proactive planning. So you can forecast budgets with confidence. So, in short, while the market drives unpredictability, Silverleaf delivers guaranteed savings, compliance, and peace of mind in your licensing investments. On that note, let me invite Shiva, who will share some detailed insights on the topic. Over to you, Shiva.
Thanks, Prerna. Manjika, can we move on to the next slide? Yes. So, team, I think what Prerna spoke about is an important trend that we are talking about today. Most of the OEMs are uh, trying to push out costs, or which will directly, or directly or indirectly increase our budgets. This is happening primarily due to two different factors that the OEMs are playing upon. One is the price increases. They are giving the reasons that every year that we have a inflation that we need to adjust to, and giving a reason of inflation, they increase the cost by 2 to 3 times when the inflation is just at between 4 to 8%, but the hike that they are asking you to pay is about 20%, which we believe is unfair. And this is the trend with a lot of OEMs. Although if you have the signed contract, your investments are protected in that way. But for all new contracts, what we are seeing as a trend from the OEMs is that the the cost a year-on-year price increase is always going up. There is no downward trajectory, but there is always an upward trajectory in terms of the new license cost that they are pushing towards customer. That's factor number one. Factor number two is what we are seeing OEMs do is traditionally, OEMs used to, offer very good pricing. If customers are willing to do some kind of a long-term commitment in a 3 year or 5 year agreement by, structurally creating in case of Microsoft EA, if you can relate to that, there are different levels which are given to the customers in by virtue of their size, which no longer exists now. And this is coming a trend with other OEMs as well. Whatever list prices or benefits that you would get by virtue of being a customer of scale, they are going away now. Now the direction is you pay for you irrespective of the size and size of the organization, you're expected to pay a same list price as the as compared to the uh, customers who are buying much smaller sizes than you. So that is the second trend that we are seeing. The third is subscriptionization of all licenses. Any license that you see today, there is a increasing and aggressive trend to move everything to subscription, irrespective of the fact that that the change in model makes strategic and business sense for you or not. This is more of a I believe somebody had started sharing their screen. I'll just take a pause. I think the team is sharing the screen again.
No, Shiva, we are not.
Right. So yeah, coming back to the third factor that we were discussing is uh, the transformation of licensing into a subscription-based licensing where OEMs want predictable revenue for them. That's why they are trying to push customers onto a model where revenue is predictable, where you give customers a year-on-year spend as a commitment, over a long period of time. But we, but what we have noticed is subscription models typically tend to be much more expensive than the perpetual plus support costs that we are traditionally used to. I mean, any big vendor that you see, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's Oracle or VMware, you can see that increasingly their licensing model is no longer a typical capex investment on licenses, and you pay support year on year. Now everything is subscription, and it's like you give us money every year, and we will continue to give you whatever you need. Features and functionalities are always oversold, meaning that these are in subscription as well. Another trend that we have seen is they will offer you a SKU or a product that is of the highest capabilities, irrespective of the fact whether that features makes business sense for your organization or not. A smart way of doing this is creating in case of Microsoft, they create Microsoft E3, E5, 365, E3, E1, E5. Instead of these five SKUs, they always convince organizations to go with the highest amount of SKU, saying that you purchase this SKU, I'll give a good discount. And we typically see this as a trap that people walk into. It is not the case that if they are offering a good discount that you have to go and buy a SKU that is really containing the highest amount of features. It is typically a trick paid by organizations to cut deals or renewals that are much expensive than what they're supposed to be. So that is the typical large trend that we are seeing. These are the five factors that are affecting the overall, increase towards your budgets or the new proposals that you're seeing. And what we do is to challenge all the factors that I've mentioned right now. So what you're able to see on the screen is the key dimensions or the key areas that we look into while we come and advise you and assist you in challenging the five factors that the OEMs bring up whenever there is a discussion of a renewal or there is a discussion of a new purchase. So the first area that we look into is contract evaluation. Contract evaluation is a key lever because if you take a case of any big OEM, there are different kind of contracts that they have that they've made available for customers. Typically, you can see that enterprise agreement is standard for all big organizations, but there is another program called as enterprise agreement subscription, which is similar to EA, which offers similar discounts as EA, but which offers a flexibility that is far greater and is product SKU range that is far more wider as compared to the EA. When you commit on EAS, there is flexibility for you to true up and true down every year in the world of Microsoft. And there are agreements like this that exist in a lot of OEMs, but it is important in every time when you're signing a new deal or renewing an existing agreement. It's always important to evaluate all the options that you have even from a contract perspective, because what you might have signed 3 years ago might not be the best way to go ahead for the next 3 years or the next 5 years that you're looking to sign for. So that is the first area that we advise upon. We look into all kinds of contracting options available for you, depending on your size, depending upon your geographic presence, and depending upon the kind of users that your businesses cater to. Then we also look at licensing model evangelization because if you see in the world of Microsoft as well, there are many contracting options available, but perpetual licenses are uh, specifically available in a specific kind of agreement. If you've heard of, there used to be an agreement called as Select Plus, which is decommissioned right now. But if you need perpetual licenses now, you have to go to a direct market or an open market to purchase these licenses. But I'm not sure if you're aware that Cloud Solution Provider Agreement is also an agreement, which is called as CSP in the world of Microsoft, which can help you, access perpetual licenses as well. Nowadays, we have seen a lot of CSP providers are also selling perpetual licenses. You just have to maintain support on top of these, perpetual licenses if you are not interested or if your business case doesn't fit with going on to a subscription model. So this is what we do in the contract evaluation phase. We look at all the contracting options that you have on the table, and we'll present these options to you so that you can choose the best option and the best use case that will give you the best flexibility over the coming few years when you're signing a new deal or when you're renewing an existing contract. That is the first lever that we look at. When we go on to the second lever, it is on licensing exceptions, because licensing is always something that that OEMs project as something that is written in stone and cannot be changed. But with what we have seen with the OEMs doing in the market over the last few decades is licensing is very publisher specific, and there are a lot of exceptions available if you know how to negotiate right. And this is a case that is applicable for very large OEMs like ServiceNow, VMware, and very smaller OEMs like you can take a typical an agreement from Canva, or you can take their typical licensing agreement available with the font vendors as well. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. There are many companies who are selling fonts to typically banks and big organizations who have lot of their applications or businesses running on web, and they use these fonts to audit them later, because the licensing agreement for these fonts were designed in such a way that whenever you use it for a commercial purpose, whenever you're using it for a purpose which derives revenue, you will always be under a scrutiny to be audited by these font vendor. So in this phase of license exceptions, what we do is we will tell you what are all the exceptions possible under the standard licensing rules or the standard licensing posture that is given to you by the OEM. We'll tell you what could be the buyback terms from these licenses, what are the exceptions that you can negotiate upon in terms of the license metric, in terms of the license use right, and in terms of the license grant as well. When I said use right, I'll give you an example. So SQL Server, you all know that SQL whenever you purchase a SQL Server with a support license, you can use one license in production, one license in high availability, one license for high availability or all production workloads you want to keep in an active setting, and one license for DR is free, and one license for production is free. But we have also seen cases where Microsoft has allowed exceptions for people to get these rights without even paying for a support in a long-term contract when they have negotiated their O365 agreement. And this is not a standard practice that is given by Microsoft to all customers, but we have seen, exceptions are made possible by Microsoft for specific customers on a case-to-case basis when they reach out to different people in the organization. So that's what we do in this license exception phase. We will tell you how to, profile your set of users, because you can see that there is a generic trend, or there is a large trend these days, that any OEM that you see, whether it's VMware or Microsoft, they will come with a one size fit approach to you. They'll say, this is our most premium offering. You can purchase this offering and we'll give you a good discount on this. Rather than, coming to you, understanding your features, the way it's sold is, we'll give you the most premium offering that we have and we'll apply a discount on top of this. The second case is, it seems to be a very fair, trade-off when you hear it for the first time. But we see it's not very, advantageous for organizations to do this in the long run, because in any premium offering that is sold to a specific organization, only 30 to 40% of the features are utilized in any given point in time. So if you're only using 30 to 40% of the features and you're getting a 30% discount, I don't think that that would be a fair trade-off. And that's what we do in this license exceptions phase. We will tell you what kind of specific feature and what kind of specific SKU within a different set of catalogs that the OEM has is the right requirement for you based on the business requirements that you have. We'll help you, bridge that licensing jargon and help you reach to a SKU that is very cost effective, and it will also give all the business functionalities that your end users require. So that's on licensing exceptions. I'll move on to the next lever, which is BOM optimization. So BOM optimization is closer to what I've talked about in license exceptions. So in BOM optimization, what we do is, as I spoke before, whenever you've been given a specific kind of requirement from the OEM that you need to purchase this, we'll take that BOQ and we will apply all the licensing metrics and licensing use right exceptions that we have seen that the OEMs are giving to other customers, and we'll tell you what is the most optimal BOM that you could sign for with this OEM at a very good price. And this could happen in three different scenarios, right? You get a proposal, we take your proposal, and we will run it through our, specific licensing experts who are from these OEM ecosystems, who have worked in these licensing, teams of the OEMs, who understand the licensing of the OEMs in and out, and they will help you, build a counter BOQ that is much more optimal for you as compared to what the OEM is pitching you. And we'll also do a profiling workshop with your own stakeholders within your organizations to understand what is the overall technology roadmap for the next 3 to 5 years, and what is the workload specific and deployment specific usage over the next 3 years. And we'll map that requirements to the current BOQ that is being pitched to you. When we add these insights, the OEM typically says that, okay, we'll agree to this, given that you are okay to signing us a three-year agreement or a 5-year agreement. And we have seen these scenarios happen whenever OEM shares BOQ, and we have helped customers build a counter BOQ that's much more optimal. OEMs are typically surprised that we are able to build such justifications for the for the licensing rules or the BOQs that they push through. But it is always important to vet these BOQs and tailor these BOQs to your overall long-term plan and the technology roadmap that you have. I'll take a pause here just to see if you have any questions. Okay. You can post any questions if you
शिवा
have
सर,
in the chat as well. Yeah.
सर यू टॉक्ड अबाउट प्राइसिंग की क्वांटिटी पे प्राइसिंग हमारी डिपेंड करेंगी
Yeah.
सर बट ये समटाइम्स ऐसा होता है कि आई एम जस्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट द एक्सट्रीम्स कि अगर हमारे पास या तो बहुत मिनिमल क्वांटिटी है या तो बहुत ज्यादा क्वांटिटी है जो बाकी इंडस्ट्री स्टैंडर्ड से ज्यादा है, तो इन दो केसेस में हाउ कैन वी कॉन्फ़िगर कि व्हाट शुड बी द प्राइसिंग जिसमें हमको लेना चाहिए? कम है तो फिर भी सर अगर दो क्वांटिटी ले रहे हैं तो इट वुड नॉट हेम्पर अस अ लॉट, बट अगर हम दो के जगह 200 ले रहे हैं और इंडस्ट्री में नॉर्मली 50-60 लाइसेंसेस लेते हैं हम, तो ये जो गैप है इसको हम कैसे, मतलब व्हाट वुड बी द एग्जैक्ट अमाउंट या कोई एक सही आस्क प्राइस एटलीस्ट हमारा कि जिस पे हम नेगोशिएशन टेबल पे जाए तो दैट वुड बी फ्रूटफुल टू अस।
So it is always, I mean, it is always important to, see what is the baseline first. Typically, any deal that is overall requirement I'm talking about. So as you rightly said, if it is a really small requirement, it is not worth to, spend your time and, kill or put a lot of effort to get the price down. But if it is sizable for Microsoft India or any big or large OEM is about 50 lakhs. Any BOQ that falls in the 30 to 50 lakh or any requirement that comes between this, you can always look at trying to understand what is the best BOQ for this, what is the best quantity for this, how we need to negotiate. But yeah, it has to have a minimum requirement, which we've seen typically is about 40 to 50 lakhs Indian rupees for any OEM. But yeah, if you have really big volumes, you're always at an advantage compared to other customers. Yes, Biffin, go ahead.
Okay, so actually, I just want to. You have already told me that if any software company is using 30 to 40% features only, okay. So this, I think we already discussing with the OEM. If we are buying any software, so whatever feature we are going to use on behalf of that number of features, we can negotiate with the vendor OEM. So this, I think this we are doing, I think.
That is very good. I mean, we typically don't see. So, for example, let's say if you are using M365 E3 or E5, it is not typically the case that you can directly go to the OEM and say that we are only using these features. Would you be able to give a lesser cost? It is not the case. But if you are doing that, it would be very great. I mean, it would be very good for you because typically this is not the case. This is what we've seen the OEMs behave. They always want to give you the premium offering that they have and
Okay.
offer a higher discount on that. But if you are able to negotiate based on the actual features that you are utilizing on top of a SKU that you've already bought, that is a very good
Mhm.
practice and you should continue doing it.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Any more questions, forum? Please feel free to post any questions that you have on the chat. I'll just continue with the remaining three levers and then I'll take those questions. Okay, the next lever that we look at holistically is about price benchmarking and giving you negotiation support. So what we do in this price benchmarking cases, there are many OEMs who does not keep their list price visible to the overall public. So for example, there is no public price list available for an OEM like VMware. There are always numbers quoted, but the list prices are never quoted on a website or directly on a website. In case of Microsoft, you see that they will give you a retail price list available on the website, but when it comes to B2B deals, business to business, so for example, if you are an organization purchasing from Microsoft, there is a list price that is applicable for you, which is available in the indirect market. Now, to get this list price visibility and to understand what is the amount of discount you've received compared to the list price, it is always difficult because this is not publicly available because of the relationship that we have in the industry and the experience that our experts bring. We have this information, we understand how these pricing is computed, and we will help you understand what kind of discount is being offered to you whenever a new proposal has been shared with you. And we'll do this benchmarking at a unit price level, and we'll do this benchmarking at an overall deal level as well. We'll tell you if you're buying 10 things from Microsoft, what is the specific amount of discount that is given on every product. And also we'll tell you what is the total amount of discount that's been received on the deal. So that is area one of price benchmarking. Area two is we will also support you to understand what kind of discount have you received compared to peers. So let's say you are a bank or you are a IT services organization in India, and your user base is about 10,000 and 15,000. What we will also help you with is, because we are able to work and be involved with a lot of organizations in India and outside. We have an expansive list and a rich repository of benchmarks which we can give you visibility into, so that you are aware to ask any OEM the right price. Because if they can provide a certain set of discount to a certain set of customers with your same size, it is always fair that you to expect that kind of a discount. And that's where we'll help in. We will tell you what kind of discount that these peers are getting and where you stand from an overall industry standpoint. And then we'll also give you visibility in on the backend rebates that these OEMs give to resellers when they do the transaction. So for example, you might be aware that a lot of OEMs in India does not do direct transactions with customers. They will have to go through a reseller. And these resellers typically get a lot of backend rebates and incentives for selling these licenses to you. And these visibility is very important because you are never aware to ask what is the right amount of margin to be set to a partner. And that can only be understood once you understand what kind of incentives they are making by transacting your deal. So we will give you visibility into areas of incentives and rebates that these kind of partners receive. And then the third area that we would support you on is local accelerators. So for example, local accelerators are basically special offers or special special sales programs that are introduced in developing economies. So for example, India is still considered a developing market. So organizations like Microsoft offer a price list that is much less compared to if you are to purchase these licenses in a country like US, UK, Middle East, because India is considered a market that is still growing, and Thailand is also considered a market that is still growing, and Indonesia is also considered a market that is still growing. And in markets like this, there is an added benefit of buying licenses from there because the overall empowerment level for sales, sales functions in these areas is much higher as compared to the sales functions in uh, you know areas or geographies that are much advanced in terms of the OEM footprint and overall OEM exposure into these markets. So that's what we'll help you with. If there are any geographic benefits of buying licenses, we'll help you understand these kind of nuances that exist. And the last area is about negotiation strategy and support. So negotiation strategy and support in this area, what we help customers with is we will tell specific customers to understand what is the overall hierarchy of different organizations, different OEMs that you interact with. Once you understand these hierarchies, you know, and we will help you so that you are better prepared to reach out to a specific individual at a specific point in time to get higher level empowerments or discounts or better commercial terms or maybe better payment terms. This can all be possible when you understand, to negotiate at what level with which specific business function and which specific department within the organization who can allow that exception to happen. The next area that we look at while doing our review is modulation of product. Modulation of products is typically an area that we look in uh, that directly impacts the BOM optimization as well. So what we do in this modulation of products is typically OEMs will always put the one size fit approach. One size fits all approach. But what we do is we have seen organizations like Microsoft being more considerate to customers when they bring in really good business justifications on why a product should be unbundled. So they might have Microsoft 365 E5, but you're not really interested in the maybe Defender part of that N365 E5 bundle, or maybe a DLP solution that is bundled as part of the overall package. Now, what we do is we'll help you negotiate with Microsoft to debundle that license out of the overall bundle that you purchase, and we will help you buy a custom SKU depending on your own requirement. And the next area that we look at is whenever you're purchasing a product and whenever you're in an active negotiation with a vendor, it's always important to have BATNA. What I call BATNA is best and alternative, I mean, best possible alternative. So whenever you're negotiating with someone, if you don't have alternatives, you don't have strategic leverage, you don't have negotiation, strength to, go and make very strong asks. And for the same thing, you should always have some kind of a best possible alternative in your back. And that's what we'll help you with. We will give you all the, possible alternatives that are available in the market so that you evaluate them. We do not recommend to move to any alternate solution right away, but we always recommend you explore the cost and you explore the overall TCO of running different alternative technologies within the environment. And you have a POC ready in place so that whenever your current negotiations don't move as fast, you can always use this as a lever in your negotiation to be in a stronger position. And then the last area is about custom licensing metrics. As I've told, there are custom licensing metrics that many organizations allow, many OEMs allow specifically. In case of SAP HANA, there are geographical restrictions that will get through. In case of Oracle database as well, you might be aware that Oracle, whenever they sign a EULA, they try to keep it geographically restricted. If ever you open an entity, open an IT office, in a geography that is outside this current area that you've negotiated, they will always soon know this is non-compliant. So to be aware of these all situations, you need to kind of imbibe these custom licensing metrics into the contract. So we'll help you build these kind of important clauses that you need to incorporate into your contract during the renewal. The last area is about price arbitrage. Price arbitrage is about understanding the overall cost differential that is there between dollars and different currencies. So for example, there are geographies in the world wherein if you transact from these geographies, there is a high possibility the overall tax that you pay on your licenses is going to be very less as compared to what you're paying today. If you are interested in tax optimization, or if you have the appetite to increase the overall potential by even saving on taxes, we and even saving on some of the price differentials that exist due to currency differences, they can help you there as well. So that is the last area that we look at. So typically what you are able to see on the screen is the major areas or the levers that we look into. There are many additional levers and many additional uh, discussion points that we bring into whenever we review a contract, but that is always case by case basis depending on your organization size, depending on your previous negotiation context. We always tailor our approach so that it fits you in to your best needs so that maximum amount of savings can be delivered. So that is about it from my end. So this is just an introduction of how we look at the optimization in a holistic sense from a lever standpoint of view. I'm happy to take any questions if you have any. Okay, I think that's a no. Back to you, Prerna.
Thank you so much, Shiva. Uh, so if anybody has any question, please feel free to ask. You can unmute yourself and ask a question. You can also type. Yeah, Ajay, please go on.
Yeah, hi, this is Ajay from Canada HSBC Confucius. See, Shiva, as a customer, my message which comes out from this session so far is that these are the capabilities. This is what we can do from the product. This is how the Silverleaf can assist us. But if I go one step ahead, Now, I being as a customer, how can I do that? Can you showcase some practical approach? Okay, because theoretically we all do understand, and that is the reason we implemented this tool. And I am not sure that Sunny and if they have handles can. As a customer, we are more interested to see the practical experience. The messaging it is giving us that we go for the managed services, and then Silverleaf can assist us in terms of bringing all these efficiencies. So
So
how
I
does
will
it
take
work
that
on
question.
ground?
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
So Ajay, just to give you a small brief. So this is more about a theory of how we do things, as you rightly said. You are, on point there. When we come to how you do it, we are not saying that, buy or, engage with Silverleaf on a managed services model. What we do is, uh, as a proof of concept to many customers, if you have any renewal that is coming up, any renewal that you're looking at, you can give us this one specific contract that you would want to try upon. We will engage with you, to give you a feel of the specific uh, practical scenarios that can happen within your own contract. And this will happen, free of cost as a pilot exercise. So let's say you have a renewal that is coming up. You can engage us. We will take your contract. We'll assess it. We will see what are all the possible scenarios in this contract, and we will show that scenarios to you as a pilot exercise. If you believe that there is potential in that contracts, then only we can move to a next stage. And that is the best approach that we have seen that works for all customers. We're not saying come and engage us directly. We have very flexible models. You can come to us. You can tell which contract that you have, that is a headache for you at this point in time, and that you have an appetite to see some savings. You can give us that contract. We can work upon that contract, and then we'll take it to the next stage by presenting the findings to you without charging you anything in this phase. We will show all the possible uh, you know levers or possible things, or one or two to three things that you can do within this own contract, and we'll show you the associated savings with them as well. And this could be much closest to the real world scenario that happens once you move on to a stage where we commercially formally engage with you, and then deliver some savings. Before that, we can also give you a pilot exercise where you can exactly see what we are going to do in the next phase. Does that answer your question, Ajay?
Yeah, so because that is no, Shiva. Do I buy your point? But because see, as a customer, again, I would like to counter you, and I'm countering you because that's a webinar which is going to be helpful for the customers. Now, when
Yeah,
I'm using a tool which gives
yeah.
me the usage, which give me the consumption, which gives me total license availability. Let's say I'm taking an example of Office 365, right?
Mhm.
So if I'm already getting the analytics, the tool should give me enough capability and decision making power to decide that how many licenses do I need to consider or optimize in the next coming renewal, right? So that's what the basic outcome. If
Yeah.
I consider from the plain vanilla environment where I don't have any platform to assess the utilization, allocation, and all, rather than having as compared to having the Flexera solution, right? So ideally, there should not be any manual intervention required. Yes, Silverleaf can definitely help to optimize the thing, but as a basic decision-making analytics, there should the tool itself should showcase that okay, I should optimize E3 or F1, whatever it is, rather than being having a dependency on the partners.
So that the tool can, Ajay, this is a fair point, because tools can always give you insights, and how we are going to use that insight is always going to depend on the partner who is going to help you there. So if your tool is giving you a specific set of data, you have to use these data to make your own inferences. And that's where we're saying, so we kind of there are two discussions here, right? So one, you're, I think, relating it to the overall ITAM discussion. The ITAM discussion that we are having is, it will always give you insights on, okay, today you have 100 licenses. Out of that, maybe 90 or only 90 are in use. These 10 are not being utilized. That is a discussion That is where the discussion stops. Okay, go and reduce this 10, you will save money. But when it comes to a real world scenario, a renewal, we are talking about the overall optimization of your contract, not the specific discussion on the license itself. There are many different levers, there are many different things that happen. But your first question of whether a tool can give you insights, yes, a tool will give you, irrespective of the fact whether there is a partner or not. But it depends on the capabilities of the partner. Whether there is a good partner, he'll give you, he'll help you make good inferences on it, and you can use these inferences to save money rather than doing a deeper exercise or a,
Can I
as a
intervene?
governance thing.
Yeah, yeah. Can I intervene, sir? To your point, there is absolutely no value added if I were to tell you that reduce your number of users or licenses. Silverleaf doesn't do that. You can always get that information from your tool and you can make a decision based on that. Tool will always give you the metrics. The value that Silverleaf delivers is on the levers that you're seeing on screen, right? Do you get to see the price that you should actually be paying? No. No salesperson from any OEM will come and tell you that this is the fair price. They will add all kinds of margins and they'll sell it to you. The value that Silverleaf adds is tell you what is the right price, which is hidden from you. It will tell you about the levers that you see on the screen, right? So say, for example, in Office 365, 10 of your users use PowerPoint and they don't use Word, right? Why should you pay for Word? So that is the value which Silverleaf comes and delivers, that we will help you discover the right price through different levers, right? Is your price benchmarked correct? Do you get the negotiation support from anyone? Does the tool give you negotiation support? No, it does not. We give you a strategy to negotiate with the customers, with the OEMs, right? There are licensing exceptions that are never known to you, right? You have never evaluated the contract from user perspective, from persona perspective, right? So those are the values that we will add, in a real life situation or in a pragmatic way. Your
One of
BOM
the
may not be
examples,
optimal.
so one of the examples, and this is Mayank here, I would just like to add a few things. So when we look at a consumption-based tool, we typically look at how many Teams usage have been there across what kind of users, how frequently Teams have been used, how much of SharePoint has been accessed, how much of OneDrive has been used, and we can get individual application-based usage information by default from any platform. However, what happens is there is an amount of understanding and knowledge and research that needs to be done to see, based on this consumption and utilization, which licensing SKU should be mapped and put into the contract. This particular mapping between what has been consumed and what is available within the vendor ecosystem from a licensing bundle standpoint is something that probably we can help add value upon as a major point of service. Now, if we are thinking that if a customer has an E5 and the tool should automatically recommend that they should go down to an E3, or they should go down to an E1 or an F1, or vice versa, they should step up to E5 given the individual components of security they are adding on, then this kind of intelligence in terms of recommendations of downgrade and upgrade from a SKU level or a licensing metric level does not come automatically from the tool. Though we would love to have it, but then typically we've not seen either a ServiceNow Sampro or a Flexera or a Snow or a Sotero or any other for that matter, who typically go down to this level of intelligence. So the combination of the licensing SKU analysis metrics versus what has been seen as deployed allows us to frame a custom user profile bundle, which typically is not standard, that can be negotiated upon during your discussions at the time of signing or at the time of renewal of the contract. I'm not sure if that helps get a perspective, but we thought we'll just share that as well to you.
Bank, I am logically 100% aligned and there is no gap. What I was trying to convey that when we have such insightful webinars, if
Mhm.
Silverleaf can consider some practical and logical part also in the session so that we get a sense how does it works. Yeah,
Correct. So we can show you a few
we will,
examples.
yeah. So we'll connect more with the product. With the
Correct.
with the
Correct. With the
PPT, it is
service.
very difficult to correlate. The
Correct.
PPT and
Correct.
slides just look theoretical part. I'm
Correct.
considering and I'm countering you from the customer point of view that how can I practically see that on the ground? That's it.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Logically, you are
So,
absolutely right.
yeah, absolutely. So, as an advisory service, typically this kind of service that we're presenting today is independent of any platform. And therefore, even though we have Sunny leading the entire ITAM practice as a separate service, this particular model of engagement is independent of any platform. And what typically comes up is a bunch of analysis around the deployments, around consumptions, around looking at different profiles. So I'm sure there are a few examples. We can take a few examples to share of what kind of profiles do exist within customers, of how these bundling can happen. And all of that can be given as a knowledge-based service to you as and when needed. Now, the same personas can also be used for a Salesforce discussion as well as for a ServiceNow discussion as well. Recently, we did an analysis for an Adobe Analytics contract where the entire bunch of users were given the Prime product. Now, Prime is the most expensive product in the Adobe Analytics family, and there are multiple other versions and editions and SKUs available, which typically are not properly understood, which is where our licensing team, led by Shiva, comes into the picture to explain the difference between different editions and versions of those products, and then help take a decision of which product should be, which version and edition should be taken by which kind of roles and users to assign a custom user profile. So what we typically do, I'll just give you, maybe Shiva, you can share a few snapshots of how we do user profiling, what all data do we analyze, and how do those recommendations come up in place to be able to see live of the activity we do as an advisory service. We are not showcasing any platform demo right now because that will be taken up separately by Sunny in a separate webinar on ITAM. But we current more considered about the licensing research and advisory perspective from a few examples that will be good to see. If you move forward on this one, Shiva, by the time you pick up on the slides, which can show the real ground level analysis, we can actually just quickly cover this up to say that these are the scenarios where contract renewal or a new contract being signed for the first time. A lot of our customers are signing a lot of new contracts for the first time, where the licensing metrics and contract clauses are not something they've done that before. So during these times, you need a specialist partner who understands those metrics and contract clauses and help you from being oversold on any of those terms or any of those lock-ins or any of those prices. So especially around new contract signing up and contract renewals, along with the M&A scenarios, if you want to restructure an existing contract in the middle of the term, or you want to optimize your managed services contracts, are something that we typically can add value as your extended team. Move forward. Shiva, let me know when you're ready to share some details.
Mike, what I was thinking was, we can have a dedicated session with Ajay if there is
Okay,
something of interest.
that's fine. So Ajay, we'll separately set up a 15-minute call with you or a 20-minute call with you to be able to take you through the analysis of what we can do and how do we collect data from different sources, what analysis do we do, what calculation sheets and scenarios do we prepare, and we'll take you through separately in the interest of time for the rest of the people.
No problem. Like again, it is not a complaint. It is we are satisfied customers. The only point and an intent was that how we can bring more value with the product.
Correct. I
Understanding
agree.
the practical.
I agree.
That's it.
Fair point. Okay. Point taken. So some of the steps of execution in terms of a methodology is here for you to adopt, to look at. Obviously, there are multiple workshops and sessions being done with all stakeholders to discuss and ideate on the why and how of it, so that we are all on the same page as we move forward. This deck will be shared to you after this call, so don't worry about losing out on the information here. It'll all be shared with you. And so if you need a specialist partner whose bread and butter is focused around licensing and pricing and contracts, then we typically come as a handful trusted advisor. We work with some of the largest of enterprises across the globe now with our presence, and recently we set up a subsidiary of our own in Australia. We have Ravi on the call who leads our Australian subsidiary as well. So there's a lot of traction happening. The more vendors that are coming up with innovative models of licensing, the more work we have to do research and figure out the areas of optimization. So it's an ongoing process. A lot of work is being done on open source software as well. A lot of open source software is becoming paid. We see a lot of open source companies now doing audits, especially the fonts, the monotype fonts, the iText are doing regular audits now to a large number of customers. Java audits are being seen done by Oracle quite frequently. So how to manage those audits and how to come out without paying a penalty or without paying any amount of money due to ignorance or due to incomplete information being shared, I think that's something that we can partner as well. To be able to move forward on this one, let's go ahead. Who's running the slide? So overall, I think the value proposition is quite clear to most of us on the call. It's about seeing where, as a specialist boutique research organization, where we come in, how we can add more value to already what you already know. The idea is about sharing knowledge on both sides. Some of it that you guys would know better in terms of your experiences of dealing with vendors would add on to our overall capability. And some of our research and experience of having worked with these organizations would add to the overall credibility of the discussion on the table. So just to make it a point, we all love technology. We love all the vendors. We love their products. I think it's something that we can't do without in the world as we move forward. However, we all have the right to be able to do a due diligence of exactly what we need, and we should align our spend to what we need. That's the only intent. The idea is not to kind of beat around the bush to say, no, I will definitely reduce my cost by X%. That will be a result that will happen by a few steps that we take together. But more than saving cost, it's more about aligning the spend to actual usage. That's something that we are trying to partner with you in this journey ahead. And when the cost savings happen, obviously that will get reinvested back into some of the newer initiatives that you will take. So just to right size the requirement, just to look at the right contract, have the right pricing be available, ensure the taxes are optimized, and we have the best possible deal for our organization is something that we all wish to have, and we want to just add on to our 2 cents to that vision that each one of us have for our organizations. So this is the overall value proposition. If we move forward on this one, it's been 10 years now. We're completing the 10th year in December. We work on a fixed fee model from a consulting standpoint and a gain share model as well. Both are possible. Everything has its own pros and cons, depending on how you want to see the ROI of the investment that you make on advisory services. Gartner, BCG, McKinsey, EY, they take us to their productivity. They take us to their customers. In fact, you'll be surprised to know that recently Capgemini, Accenture, and Infosys have taken us to a few of their clients who were finding it tough to optimize the renewals of some licensing contracts. And we worked with them to save a few $1 million on their Salesforce and ServiceNow across global customers. So there is a very niche kind of knowledge that we have built over these 10 years as an independent, unbiased advisory team. And we would love to share this knowledge and research with you to see if it adds value. The best way is to be able to save money. In case not, then you'll be able to avoid a lot of investment as well. Cost avoidance is equivalent to cost savings, is how we see it, because otherwise you would have ended up paying a lot more. In fact, we've seen organizations step up and step down certain products into different SKUs without realizing that they have lost certain functionality and they have to rebuy it all over again because incomplete information is shared. And the fact of the matter is, no single procurement or IT team can actually understand all of licensing because licensing by default is intentionally made complicated and it's intentionally made in such a difficult terminology so that even the lawyers don't understand it very well. So if you're trying to challenge ourselves to say why as IT leaders and procurement leaders, I am not able to get it, then look at the number of applications that you're managing in your organization and then trying to understand the changing dynamic licensing metric for each one of them, it's impossible. And that will take away all your focus area and job for the whole day. I mean, you can just read on contracts by contracts. I mean, Microsoft contract is about 334 pages now. It used to be 235 when I used to be a part of it. SAP, if you look at the S/4HANA contract. It's about 1,068 pages. I mean, who will read it? I mean, we can spend a life reading about them without even them making a sense. So therefore, the whole capability was built to be able to read these documents because these are Bible of all products within a particular vendor. Similarly, the Oracle licensing guide. I mean, it's crazy. It's the way it's evolved and the way it's coming up, especially from an OCI credit standpoint. It's very, very interesting. But then it becomes very boring if you're not coming from the school of licensing and pricing. So we are not saying that we are only looking at price benchmarking to tell you how to negotiate and beat the vendor to get the lowest price. No, no, that's not the intent. The intent is to get more knowledgeable around pricing and licensing metrics because that is where it's going to be the lifeline of where we spend in the future. All the contracts that we sign on a daily basis are licensing contracts. Everything in automation, everything in artificial intelligence, everything in data, everything is all going to be software licensing or application licensing determined. So unless we get an understanding and get a complete knowledge around licensing, we will always get somehow duped or oversold on technology. So our intention has been right from day one over these 10 years is to just know more about licensing, get more into details, and share this knowledge with you in whatever manner wherever it's needed. And then the obviously the ROI of the investment. I'm not sure if you get it from all the other top consulting firms because they come and typically give presentations and move on. We typically work hand in hand to realize those savings. Recommendations are not enough for us to be able to see value. Only when you realize those savings is when you say, okay, this the ROI on the investments we've made with Silverleaf makes a lot of sense. So this is the engagement model. If you move forward on this one quickly, I think we are done on the time. I'm sorry for extending this beyond, but have industry references across and would be happy to take over separate calls in case any of this makes sense. I'll rest my case here and over back to you, Prerna and Shiva.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, Mayank. Thank you all of you for joining us today. We truly appreciate the time and support that you've given us out of your busy schedules. Heartfelt thanks to Shiva and Mayank for sharing their valuable insights, and to our esteemed audience for engaging in such an interactive discussion. We hope you found today's session informative and gained actionable insights into how Silverleaf Solutions can assist your organization in addressing economic challenges through strategic cost saving measures and technology driven solutions. Your feedback is incredibly important to us as it helps us refine and tailor our services to better meet your needs. On the screen, you'll see a QR code for the feedback form. Please feel free to scan it now or keep an eye on your inbox. We'll be sending it to you shortly. Thank you so much once again. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Have a lovely day.
Thank
We'll
you.
stay in
Thank
touch.
you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sandeep. Everyone.